23 days to when the window for all of the primaries, political parties, will start all the way to the 30th of March. So you can do the math yourself, know how many days. So I expect that by 30th of May, we should have, we will not be second guessing who is what in each of the political parties. My default question, let me start with Mr. Hilebo. Is the PDP ready for this election?
Thank you very much. Like I've said in other forum, the PDP should have been ready for this election, but that is not the agenda of the APC and the federal executive led by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I say this because he's in charge. The buck stops at his desk. He's the leader of the APC. But all their strategy seems to flow from his modus operandi, which is do not allow for the competition to even start. No, don't even get into the arena. Disqualify all players, demobilize all actors before we get to the arena, because he knows he doesn't stand a chance if he gets into the arena. It doesn't even matter the party. Even AA will defeat him if we have a free and fair election. But as it is now, his strategy is to demobilize, destabilize, and suppress any opposition to the APC. The political parties are all riddled with subterfuge. Fifth columnists within the midst, sponsored, allegedly sponsored by the ruling party or people close to them. That being said, is PDP ready? Look, in terms of structure, we have the structures that are still there. But the question is, we got rid of the fifth columnists. We thought at the Ibadan Convention that had been achieved. But as you can see, with a mixture of, we say collusion of certain other organs or would I put it, bodies. It now seems as if the fifth columnists have now been given total control of PDP. These are people who are not functioning, have no intention of functioning as an opposition to this government. And that tells you where their allegiances, where their alliances, where their finances come from to operate. Because otherwise, why would someone who does not flow from the origin of a political party, why would that person go and hold a convention and determine by himself who is that of the political party called PDP? So for me, all these games, it's very clear where they are coming from, or all the distractions. Your show and just your intro into the show talked about more borrowing, talked about people being killed in Plateau State. Those are more pertinent issues which the opposition should be frontlining at this point in time in any conversation they're having. But unfortunately, we have been relegated to internal infractions within political party, internal insurgency in the political party. But again, not just the political party, Nigeria as a whole is under insurgent attack, whether it is either due to the non-action of the Levitian, which is the state, or through its incompetence. But that being said, the PDP is, if we get the Supreme Court to do what it is meant to do with an expedited hearing and justice is done, the PDP should be ready before May 30th, assuming that we get this expedited hearing. But
all right, Mr. Eleba, let me bring in Mr.
Ladan. Yes, where a governor was sacked and the case was taken to court, and that case was never heard until after the governor was replaced back after 6 months. So here we are.
Yeah, let me bring in Mr. Salihu. Mr. Salihu, I don't know, are you going to join in the line of lamentation of Mr. Hilebo? It's putting a lot of blame on the APC. In fact, literally saying they have these axis of resistance within all political parties to disrupt Is that what you see? And that natural question I ask, is the ADC actually ready for the primaries and to eventually give Nigerians some opposition, if you will, if the PDP is not prepared? Or the more the merrier, anyway, if the PDP and the ADC can get it.
Well, thank you, Geoffrey. My brother Ilebo is actually generous with his comments. It's not only an issue of lamentation, it is an issue of the party in power getting panicky, getting worried, and ultimately is being confused. What you have on the ground, when you saw, you must have seen the convention of the APC in Abuja. It was all choreographed to wheel in their presidential candidate, to eulogize him, to quote unquote celebrate him, and there's nothing there to celebrate. What do you celebrate in the convention of a party that has brought anger and anguish, hunger and anguish and poverty to Nigerians? What is there to celebrate about a party that is running all over the place to get, re-elected, when all we see is, pile up of debts from, 183 million plus another 60 trillion rather dollars. Naira, now you have about 243 trillion in borrowing, and with that 6 billion. Now that is scandalous politics. That is politics of, that is a guerrilla approach to politics. When you try to emasculate the political space, your opponents, to send in, like my friend said, fifth columnists, and people who got into the party yesterday, they were broke, they couldn't even afford their rent, and then today or the following day they were preparing for convention, and simply to ambush the opposition, entirely to create confusion within political parties, so that you can have inevitability of instability in those parties, thinking that you'll have a free ride. It is not going to happen, Geoffrey. Nigerians are wiser. In fact, the project politics of Nigeria today is not what the government seems to be oblivious about, is that, yes, we have an opposition that the government is fighting, but the larger opposition to the government is, in fact, the Nigerian citizen. And they have 200 plus million people to fight. They have over 100 million registered voters that will be up in arms legally to unseat the government in 2023. So the opposition parties are just providing the leadership in that direction. Now, the ADC, luckily, cannot be ambushed. Why? Because we are organized. Because we don't have, the kind of structure that they can lean on and destroy us. People are joining, and you cannot stop the gale of, defections from other parties to our own party. So going forward, we are organized, we are upbeat, we are certainly looking forward to the conclusion of these primaries, and we'll come up with the relevant candidates across all the competing platforms, from the state assembly right to the presidential level, that will give Nigerians not only a ray of hope, but the confidence to believe that Nigeria can rise and shine again, and that our country can still be the pearl of democratic norms and values that will be, the pride of Africa. So bring it on, APC. ADC is on board not only to checkmate you, but to defeat you.
Let me bring in Mr. Hilaba. Mr. Hilaba, you are a lawyer. No one can litigate suspicion or disruption. You can only litigate evidence and facts here. So how are you preparing to take advantage of what is a possibility within the APC? For instance, I'm sure there are agreements. I even heard some states where I understand the governors that agreed that as condition for the lawmakers, it's a psychological thing when a governor defects with his lawmakers or the lawmakers who represent different constituencies in the state, it looks like the entire state is moving. But it's the politicians that are moving in the sense, as Mr. Salihu has said. So we're hearing, so part of the agreement or part of the understanding is as the governor has moved, or some of these governors, or a couple of them have moved, especially the first-term governors who are seeking re-election, they will allow the lawmakers who are down in the House of Reps, in the Senate, and even the Houses of Assembly to return automatically. That's going to cause disaffection. How is PDP positioning? Because your case is a bit more dicey. Nyesom Wike has a jugular, he has a knife and a yam, because your case is in the Supreme Court. And this question is to both of you. Let me start with Mr. Hilebo.
Again, let me respond. Let me respond towing the line of my big brother there in the studio, the other side. This election is not particularly against one political party. 2027 is shaping up, and I mean, it's just unless you're not really carefully looking at the human intelligence side of things. So what comments they're making on social media, how prepared they are for the election, what they want to do. Because what I see coming, this morning, or late last night, people woke up to a leaked memo from INEC, which it didn't make that. And I don't know if they've come out to deny it, that the INEC was trying to do a validation of voters. And the comments that were coming is like, it's like, if can you still hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
And the comments that are under such posts tell you the frustration Nigerians have currently. I fear, and I keep saying this, that we must be careful not to derail this Fourth Republic with the overplayed antics of the ruling party today. I think they're overplaying their hands. I think they are pushing Nigerians to an extreme. And we are more interested in seeing this democracy and this country survive. And which is why we keep throwing this caution wherever we can, that they're overplaying their hands. The way they went about the Electoral Act amendment for 2026, the way they seem to want to ambush Nigerians, cage Nigerians, deflate political parties, and go on. They are just going to push Nigerians. And when Nigerians get to that point, it will be very unfortunate if we cannot manage those, because some people have just ignored the early warning signs. Nigerians are at their teeth ends. They can no longer take it. I live with them for the past 3 days. I'm sure you can hear my generator in the background. We've not had power. I live in Abuja. We've not had power for 3 days. Now I have to run my generator, which used to cost me about 10,000 naira. Today it costs me 47,000 naira to fill up my tank, and that doesn't even last me a day. So imagine if you are spending 47,000 naira times 10. In 10 days, you spend 470,000 naira on just running not even your car. That's just power. That's just energy. So, and just imagine that this cuts across all stratas of society. There's no middle class again. All of us that were in the middle class are now poor paupers. The government of Bola Ahmed Tinubu and APC have impoverished Nigerians to the level that it is unpardonable. In fact, government are thinking that they have a way that they are going to manipulate 2027. It's very unfortunate if anybody is thinking in that line, because what Nigerians have planned for them, they have no idea.
All right, Ms. Aile, but let me take you to Mr. Salihu. Mr. Salihu, 2 questions in one. It's just the one I asked him about how you intend to take advantage, Mr. Salihu, the ADC take advantage of members of the APC who may be disgruntled. Of course, some will be played out. They'll be ousted politically. They still have their own interests they want to shield, but the Electoral Act has made it a bit difficult to do last-minute movement to get a ticket on any political party, because you have to submit your digital register and your physical register. So what is the plan to take advantage of what you see may happen in the APC? And second, Your party has a lot of big wigs now. You have two people that have movement, Konkosia, Obedient, there's Atiku somewhere, there's Amechi. How do you want to manage all of that?
Let me start with the last first. When you look at, the movement of Dr. Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso from Kano 2 days ago, it's ballistic. I mean, it was an epic ceremony where literally Kano emptied into the arena of his announcement into the ADC. And it tells you, you have the pictures. It tells you that, the ADC is consolidating on its own, consolidating on its own ground. And like you said, we have the Obedient movement added to that. And you have Amechi, you have, Aregbe Shola, and, you have Atiku, I would say, without any apologies, as the icing on the cake. So where is the APC going to succeed with these gladiators? And when you, like my brother did say a couple of minutes ago, how are you going to fight a nation that you have brought about, a lot of agony to? How are you going to confront the people? What are the tactics that you will employ to engage Nigerians, to tell them that you have succeeded where you have woefully failed, to tell them that you have delivered where you are catastrophically, failing? What are you going to tell Nigerians really? Here we are in a nation where the global known tenets of democracy demands that the role of a government, first and foremost, is to provide, for the welfare and well-being of the citizenry, and then guarantee peace and security. What do we have in Nigeria today? Do we have peace and security? Absolutely no. Do we have the welfare and well-being of the citizen being at the heart of governance? No. And so where are we going as a country? It is a scandalous and embarrassing and situation that we found ourselves as a nation. So I can assure you that the ADC is welcoming all these gladiators, will aggregate all of them, and they have agreed amongst themselves that whoever emerges as the candidate of the party will be supported by the rest.
All right.
And Nigerians should just be worried about, the dirty politics that the ruling party is doing, and checkmate them. And we are very comfortable in our space to ensure that
we're totally out of time, Mr. Salihu and Mr. Hilebo. It's going to be an ongoing conversation. When Mr. Hilebo, Mr. Salihu, when Mr. Salihu said they have agreed that whoever emerges, they are going to support. I know I heard Nyesom Wike said that in the last PDP convention. We know how that ended. So with politicians, I hold very little of what they say until in practice, whether they will stand by what they say. But who is the opposition the very best as much as possible, because we need opposition to have a viable democracy.